All right, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Instead of doing the weekend wrap up that I normally do, because it's the first of the month, we have new monthly candles. We're going to take some time and we're going to go through the monthly charts. So I'm going to put this out partway through the trading day. So I don't know what the close will be like, but we have these monthly candles. So remember, we're looking at the month before the thing that I'm going to talk about. And grab your coffee if you're watching this midday, or a beer if you're watching at the end of the day, because I've made a lot of notes. There's a lot of charts we're going to go through here. So let's get into it. Again, new month. I'm going to start doing this at the beginning of every month. Just overwrite whatever video is going out that day. Because I think even if you're a short-term trader, if you're even an intraday trader, I think zooming out like this is a fantastic exercise. I got this from my buddy JC over at All Star Charts, who's a must follow, and it zooms you out. It says, okay, we spend so much time in the weeds and looking for trade ideas, and me running my algos and having those algos at StatsEdge Pro suggesting trade ideas and things like that, that it just makes sense to take the hour, maybe max, that it will take, and just go into the monthly charts and zoom out and take a look at whatever's happening there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to obviously get started, as always, with Bitcoin. So let's actually just go over here and we'll go BTC, USD. So this cup and handle, what else can I say with this cup and handle? We're over 70,000. That's great. We got a monthly close last month over this kind of downtrend line that I put in. That's also great. Both of those are exactly what we want to see. We want to see that breakout now stick. We want another month of continuation to get us out of this push and out of this range, and then on our road to that $100,000 mark, and then through that, who knows? But if we fail, right, we're going to zoom in sometimes into daily charts. If we fail entirely, that's going to be bad. So far, we're just pulling back, and we pull back to the breakout spot, which is exactly what you want to see. We're putting in a little bit of bottoming tail. Looks like we might be pushing higher. So far, so good. But zooming out, this cup and handle looks absolutely amazing. Again, if you want to go crazy, which I've done before, to do a measured move, old school technical analysis. I've never seen the data behind this, and you guys know I'm a very data driven person, so take this with a grain of sand. But if you pop the breakout point, you take the width of the candle or the width of the cup, and you put that on the breakout, and you say, where does it go from that breakout? We're talking 324,000. That'd be nice. As a holder of Bitcoin, I'm certainly not expecting that now that there's way more institutional involvement and all of that inside of Bitcoin. But if it happens, it happens. That would be great. Now, Ethereum, definitely a dog here, right? Can't get going. Now, Bitcoin, we had this nice breakout month, breaking out of resistance, getting close to all-time highs, all of that stuff we just went over. Ethereum, we sold off, and then we had an inside month, and then we had another inside month. So inside months are just consolidating. It means we can't get outside, we can't break the high, we can't break the low, bears can't get traction, bulls can't get traction, no one can get traction, and everyone gets frustrated. So Ethereum, to me, still is kind of a stay away. Let me know when it's back up around 4,000. Now, if we go to what a real winner looks like, Doge of all things. I think a little dancing guy pops out here sometimes on TradingView. But what a great looking candle. So this is obviously overall relatively weak, nowhere near all-time highs. I don't expect it to get to all-time highs, not even up near highs where Elon was talking about it, but nice looking candle, right? We've sold off. This is an anchored VWAP from this major high right here. We broke that and closed above it on the monthly basis. Nice looking candle, way better than Ethereum. Nice little breakout here. So Doge, maybe something to watch, because why not? If you want, one sign that the animal spirits might be back, then there you go. Solana. So here with Solana, we have the same kind of cup and handle that we had on Bitcoin. Nice big cup, little handle, getting tighter and tighter. Didn't get that confirmation breakout this time, but it's getting very tight. Looks like it could occur very soon. Again, as things get really, really tight, really, really consolidated in through here on Solana. All right, now let's pop into some currencies. We're going to start with DXY. So this is the Dixie. This is the dollar index. For those who don't know, if you're seeing this for the first time, welcome. This is what we do here. We do technical analysis and statistical analysis on the markets. DXY is a whole bunch of currencies, a basket of currencies compared to the US dollar. Right? Mostly euro, has some JBP, some Canadian dollars, some yen, all these things all together. Hard stuck in this range. Great bounce, great looking bounce here, but still right between 106 and 100. It's just staying in that range, and it's been in that. We entered that range in 2022, in November 2022. So now 2 years hang out in this range. We could break one way or the other. Things would get interesting if that occurred, but no signs of that, at least now. If we got a month that sold off, broke this month's low, and continued next month, that's a pretty dramatic month for the currency markets. They don't move that much. Currencies just, if you have a currency that's moving dramatically, like we saw in the end, it actually indicates problems as opposed to this smoothness you actually kind of want to see if you're someone that lives in that country. Let's take a look at, I do gold and silver in the currency section because I believe gold and silver is in the currency section. Just another monthly continuation in gold. Nothing really to say here other than gold looks great on a monthly basis, maybe a little bit overextended. We're up many months in a row. Might be time to lock in a little profits. I've been doing that this month. I wouldn't short it. I'm not going to short a chart that looks like this. But silver, XAGUSD, it just hasn't been able to get going really. And trying to get over, so we have this, again, kind of cup and handle style look. Trying to get over this range right here. Hasn't been able to do it yet. It sold off, closed basically right at these highs. So I think this month is going to be a very important month. If it's a continuation month, then that means this breakout is probably confirmed. It's probably time to get going on that. If it's not a continuation month and we fail here, well, maybe silver's done for now, and we're going to take a look at that a little bit later on. Aussie yen looked very interesting. So you can see I have some AV WAPs drawn from this major high and this major low. So the 2020 lows when everything was going crazy, and then the 2021 highs when everything looked amazing. We've had resistance right here, and then we've also had resistance to that right here as well. So a lot of resistance going on the Aussie dollar. Might be time to focus a little bit on the short side on the Aussie dollar just to see if that ends up pushing lower. If we look at US CAD, this is from long term a great look. Right? Long term, this is a very great look, which shows a weaker potential Canadian dollar, stronger US dollar. That would be good for me. Personally, as a Canadian who does a lot of my trading and work in the US and has a lot of capital over there, this breakout moving higher looks like it could be a thing up to maybe 150 or so. USD, CHF. So we are potentially looking at a double bottom or a double bottom failure in the Swiss franc. So if this low gets taken, then I think we could continue lower here on US dollar Swiss franc. If this double bottom holds and we start to push higher, we could, all the way up to $1 a share here would be very, very interesting. Now let's take a look at the yen. Look at the yen pairs. Actually, let's just look at the yen. Let's do the yen futures. Yen futures. Japanese yen futures. Here we go. Sometimes it's easier to look at the futures contract. So this has been selling for a very long time, and this last couple months were the months where the Japanese government said, okay, we're going to start raising rates. We're going to start defending our currency. We're not going to allow you guys to bully our currency. And they're kind of put their foot down. They said, okay, here we go. And that started right here. Actually, it started back here, and then it didn't work. And then they tried it again. And it doesn't look like it's working this time either. So we could continue to push down here as well. If this continuation, if this works, and this continuation ends up pushing down, then, it could be lower lows. And then if that happens, you may have more of this crazy action where the Japanese government looks to stand in again. However, if this ends up holding, you have what could be this potential Head and Shoulders. Now it's very, very, very early to do a Head and Shoulders. So what I would kind of expect if I were to forecast, which I don't do much of, I don't see there's a lot of, don't think there's a lot of value in just forecasting. I think most of the value is in just seeing what happens and reacting. But if we spent the next couple months just hanging around this area and started to push up again, that's what we would need to see, this reverse Head and Shoulders, and then that might actually be a bottom for the yen. That would be a tradable bottom. Now, Let's pop in here too. Let's grab the monthly chart and let's go to the SPY. So we're starting here in the S&P 500, and you can see if I zoom in, this is somewhat of a concerning candle, but something we just need to watch going into next month. If we go back to kind of the last time that we saw this happen was something like this, where you had a green candle that pushed up, you had this, it's technically a um, evening star pattern or shooting star, and then you had the next month that actually moved lower. Now we're up a lot on the monthly chart. We're up many, many months in a row, and then we have this candle right here, which could be, some people call it a hanging man, some people call it a shooting star, some people call it an evening star, whatever it ends up being. It's just saying that we hit a high and sellers hit us hard when we got up there. What happens next? I don't know. I wouldn't bet that this is the end of this bull market that's been going on for a very long time, but maybe it's a rest. Maybe it's a pullback for a couple months. Maybe it's right, come into 550. You can even come into 500 and it still be fine. It's a nice pullback in this zone, and then maybe some consolidation, maybe digestion after the election. Who knows? URA, so this is our uranium ETF, still looking good, right? Tried to break out of these highs right here, failed into the end of the month. So we have to be cautious of that failure that's going on here. Speaking of failure, we have XME. So this is our metals and mining ETF. I was actually really excited to see potential breakout. If you go to last month's video, the potential breakout that could occur here on XME, because this is just a very nice looking pattern. Let me bring up my Epic pen. This very nice looking pattern, which is kind of a ascending triangle. And I was looking for that breakout to occur, but we had the breakout. So far, we've had the failure. So now we need to see this start to continue and get up back to 66, 67 before that gets super interesting again on XME. Sometimes you got to restart this thing. It's fine. We're doing it live. Okay, while that loads, next we're going to UNG. You know, we had a good long in UNG a while ago. Get here. If we go to UNG, but it looks like that's failing. Right, we bought a little bit here, we bought a little bit here. This month closed right on the lows. Looks like it's about to break support. So natural gas is a avoid for me. Small caps, same thing. You're seeing a lot of this, right? That we have to kind of be cautious of, where we have this prior high, we've tested it and failed, and then we've tested it again and maybe failed. Basically, next month to me seems like a big month, and it makes sense. We have an election at the beginning of the month. All the market participants are going to decide after that election occurs what they think is going to happen next, and then we go from there. Right? So, TAN. So if we zoom in here to TAN, so this is the solar ETF. So I was just on Trader TV a few minutes ago talking about this. I actually do really like the look of this one. So on the solar ETF, we now have a lot of bottoming tails. If I cut this off, call it like $39.50, $40 a share. The price doesn't really matter, but solar's been a dog for a very long time. This has been a very weak chart for a very long time. However, just something unusual seems to be happening. Every time we come down to this area, there's some buying that's going on over and over and over and over again in the solar space. Could say there is some accumulation that's occurring here in the solar space. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, right? That's something I have these notes. And this is why I write these notes. And I even do it like a boomer with a pen and a piece of paper, except it's an iPad and an Apple Pencil, because I just want to know as I go through, if I start to see things that come into StatsEdge Pro. So I run my algorithms at the end of every week. It spits out a bunch of symbols with entry prices and exit prices. And I look through the charts, of course. And it's just, if I see a solar name, I'm going to be a little bit more interested than if I see something else, right? So solar is getting very, very interesting. FXI, this monthly chart doesn't look great. However, that was a pretty substantial move it had over the last little bit. So that's a big topping tail, and the topping tail is occurring just as it was trying to break out. If this fails, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people who thought that this was, the beginning of something in China. So I really need to see what's going to happen over the next few weeks in China. I like buying the dip here. If we zoom in, I have been looking at this. If we gonna grab, just go into a daily chart. This is FXI, so this is the large cap. I've been watching this base right here to see if we get a resolution higher on this base. But when I look at this monthly chart, it looks a little bit worrisome to me, just the candlestick itself. XBI holding very well. Right, nice push up. This level on XBI has been very, very important back through here, which I think is right 90-ish. Broke it, retest, trying to break out. Spent the last 3 or 4 months hanging out right here. So if this can get a nice push over $100, maybe biotechs, that kind of stuff will be an interesting watch. Last but not least, thanks for sticking with me this long. We have Jets, JETS. This is an awful industry. Just as someone who doesn't really do the fundamental stuff, airlines just generally suck. But this airline is actually doing, or this month, these airlines are actually doing pretty well. They're breaking out of this long base that's been going on since 2022. Maybe take a look at some airlines. Now, for me, if I'm going to trade this, I'm probably going to trade the ETF itself because, again, airlines suck. They generally lose a lot of money. So I'm going to pay attention to what I see right here. But this is a very interesting potential sector. So I'm really going to watch jets, and I'm really, really, really going to watch. I'm very, very interested in solar stocks. So again, as the algorithm outputs names, if I start to see solar names kind of pop up in there, I'm going to be very interested in those particular names. Um, so if you're interested in more of this content, or if you're interested in what the algorithms output so that you can follow along with us, come on over to StatsEdgeTrading.com. Come hang out. We have all of this. We have a Discord room. We have an alert bot that will say, hey, these are the algos that Michael's been working on, and these are the symbols, the entries and exits. And then we chat about which ones we might like and don't like and all of that kind of stuff. So come hang out. StatsEdgeTrading.com. Thanks very much for tuning in. It was only about 17 minutes. I thought it was going to be a bit longer. Got through a whole bunch of monthly charts. And I do encourage you to do this yourself as well, right? Whether you're a day trader, a swing trader, an investor, take once a month, right? Sit down, get a big list of ETFs, zoom out to the monthly chart. It very much helps you kind of reset your brain as opposed to getting into the day and day of, oh, this company reported earnings and it's up, and this reported earnings and it's down. It's just it's almost like a zen kind of activity to take this kind of zoom out. So I will see you guys in the next video.